William Shakespeare was born on April 23, 1564, in Stratford-upon-Avon, a market town in England. He was the third child of John Shakespeare, a glove maker, and Mary Arden, who came from a well-known family. Growing up, William had 7 siblings, making him one of 8 children. Shakespeare attended grammar school at the King's New School in Stratford, where he likely received a strong education in Latin and literature. At just 18 years old, he married Anne Hathaway, who was 26 at the time. Together, they had 3 children: their eldest daughter, Susanna, and twins, Hamnet and Judith. Throughout his life, Shakespeare became known as England's national poet and was often called the Bard of Avon, or simply the Bard. His work left such a mark on English literature and culture that his legacy still thrives to this day. There are many stories about Shakespeare's life, some of which may be more legend than fact. One such story, written by his first biographer, Nicholas Rowe, in 1709, claims that Shakespeare left London to escape trouble for poaching deer on the property of a man named Thomas Lucy. Whether true or not, these tales add to the mystique of the man who became one of the greatest writers in history. Shakespeare died on his birthday, April 23, 1616, and was buried at the Holy Trinity Church in Stratford, where he had been baptized years earlier. Even in death, he remains a towering figure whose words continue to inspire and enchant readers around the world. In 1592, William Shakespeare became a part of a well-known acting group called the Lord Chamberlain's Men. This company of performers became quite famous, and after the death of Queen Elizabeth in 1603, they received a special honor. The new king, James I, granted them a royal patent, and they were renamed the King's Men. The Lord Chamberlain's Men opened the Globe Theatre in 1599, a grand open-air playhouse located along the bank of the Thames River. This theatre would become the stage for many of Shakespeare's greatest works. Shakespeare himself sometimes took on small roles in his own plays. For instance, he played the character of Adam in As You Like It, the ghost in Hamlet, the chorus in Henry Vuth, and King Duncan in Macbeth. As his success grew, Shakespeare bought a large house called New Place in his hometown of Stratford. He was well known and respected by then, but he remained humble about his work. His epitaph, written on his tombstone, gives a glimpse of his wit and caution even in death. Good friend, for Jesus' sake forbear to dig the dust enclosed here. Blessed be the man that spares these stones, and cursed be he that moves my bones. In 1613, a tragedy struck when the Globe Theatre caught fire during a performance of Henry VIII. The wooden structure burned to the ground. However, the following year, in 1614, the Globe was rebuilt, showing the resilience and dedication of those who loved the theatre. Shakespeare's life was full of both triumph and hardship, but his legacy stands firm, much like the rebuilt Globe, continuing to inspire generations with his timeless plays and poetry. During the years 1585 to 1592, a period known as Shakespeare's lost years, not much is known about what he was doing or where he was. When he reappeared in London around 1592, he quickly made a name for himself as a playwright. Between 1590 and 1595, he wrote some of his earliest plays, laying the groundwork for a career that would span more than 2 decades. In total, Shakespeare wrote 37 plays and 154 sonnets. His works include various genres, from comedies and tragedies to histories. Some of his plays, like Measure for Measure, All's Well That Ends Well, and Troilus and Cressida, are known as problem plays, a term coined by scholar Frederick Boas because they blend elements of comedy and tragedy, making them difficult to classify. Shakespeare didn't work alone all the time. He collaborated with other playwrights, such as Christopher Marlowe, with whom he worked on the last 2 parts of Henry VI and Richard II. Later in his career, he began an unfinished work called Henry VIII, All Is True, which he co-wrote with John Fletcher. In her essay, A Room of One's Own, Virginia Woolf imagined what life might have been like for Shakespeare's fictional sister, Judith. Woolf used Judith's story to explore the limited opportunities women had during that time. highlighting how even someone as talented as Shakespeare would have faced obstacles if born female. Shakespeare lived in London from 1587 to 1611, during which time he not only transformed English drama, but also enriched the language itself. He is credited with inventing around 1,700 words, many of which we still use today. His history plays, which cover over 350 years of English history, remain some of his most powerful works. They explore themes of power, betrayal, and ambition, capturing the complexities of the human experience across time.